Macca's Guides.
Hey everyone, Macca here playing Watch Dogs Legion, and in this video I will show you a little bit of a showcase of all of the abilities in the game fully upgraded. As you play through the game, you will unlock tech points scattered all across the map, and then you can use these tech points to unlock upgrades and abilities, and there are more than enough tech points available across the map. Even when you have everything fully upgraded, you should still have some left over. You'll find them pretty easily once you liberate a burrow, and then you can just kind of see them on your map, mark them as a waypoint, and go and pick them up. Now the first gadget we're going to show off here is the Infiltrator Spiderbot, and when it's fully upgraded you have the ability to double jump and sprint, as well as activate an invincibility cloak. This is easily going to be one of the best and most useful gadgets in the entire game. You'll be able to complete entire missions just using the Spiderbot, and the face hugger animation is also just extremely cool. The next gadget we'll talk about is the AR Cloak, and upgrading it allows it to last longer if standing still or walking slowly, and it allows you to take enemies out from a greater distance. This is an exceptionally good upgrade if you do want to play stealthy or get yourself out of a sticky situation, and if you can pair this with a silenced weapon, it can be extremely deadly and fun to use. However, it's obviously not going to be one of those really aggressive things you can do, just kind of running and gunning. It's not going to be that useful for that specifically.
Fuck me, this is my tech.
The next gadget we'll talk about is the Electro Fist, and this one's pretty cool if you want to feel like a superhero. It basically allows you to melee people with electricity, and getting an upgrade makes the electricity arc from enemy to enemy and makes a big concussive blast. So it's kind of useful if you get in a sticky situation with a bunch of close combat enemies. But personally, I didn't find this one that useful other than for the cool factor and for a little bit of fun. If you take gaming a little seriously like I do, then you may want to stick away from this one. Next we have the Electro Shock Trap, and adding the upgrades allows you to EMP drones and disrupt enemy equipment, and then that last upgrade also allows you to disrupt their weapons. This one can be pretty useful if you have a specific playstyle, but you may not find yourself using this one as often as some of the other options we do have, which are probably a little cooler and probably a little bit more useful. You can still have some fun with this one though. Next up, we have the Combat Spiderbot, and the upgrades increase the rate of fire to the automated turret and allow you to manually override it and shoot where and how you want instead. This is another gadget with a really high cool factor and a really big wow factor, but if you're looking to be as efficient as possible, you may not find yourself using it too much, but if you're just looking to have a good time, it's definitely one you want to keep in your back pocket.
A chance to leave the troubles of the world behind. Things may seem bleak now, but a new society awaits you. A society of peace and ambition, of love and prosperity.
Next up, we have the Missile Drone gadget, which upgrades to have target-seeking ability and mini-cluster missiles. This upgrade is pretty cool and pretty useful if you're trying to get away from a 5-star pursuit. It's a great way to blow up a lot of cars all at once, but at the same time, it has some pretty limited uses. You do spend a decent amount of time during missions inside of buildings, where this one is maybe a little less useful. Next up on the list, we have the non-lethal DedSec pistol, and upgrading this will bring its magazine capacity size to 15, as well as add a silencer. And this is going to be one of the most useful tools if you like playing stealthy like I do. It's also a great way to turn a character who doesn't have any kind of stealth weapons in their arsenal into a stealth character. So it allows you to kind of go into a mission with two different playstyles in mind and adapt. So that's kind of cool. Anyways, it's a silenced pistol. You know the deal.
You're new. Excellent. I like meeting. Right weapon out. Drop the
Oh, they've got me pinned. Moving.
Next up, we have the Sec SMG, which has an increase into its capacity for its mag, as well as a quicker reload once you upgrade it. This one's fine. It allows you to basically add an SMG to any character you want, but this SMG doesn't do all that much damage, and it's also not stealthy at all. So you might want to use it if you like blowing stuff up, you like the action and whatnot. But overall, it's not the greatest weapon by any stretch of the imagination. If you are able to pull off a headshot, the high rate of fire will likely reward you with a kill, but if you are at a distance with the enemies, that high rate of fire also leads to enough inaccuracy that it can be very hard to kill anyone if you're not right next to them.
Neutralizing hostile target. Employing combat.
Next up, we have the Disrupt hack, which is very useful, although it cannot be upgraded. This just basically allows you to disrupt an enemy right in front of you, and at that point, they become incapacitated, and you can pretty much do whatever you want to them. So you can take them out with one of the weapons, or you can just take them out with hand-to-hand combat. So if you are in kind of like a one-on-one situation, you can pretty much get a free kill out of it.
There now. Taken up.
Is this malfunctioning?
Next up, we have the non-lethal shotgun, and the abilities here to upgrade are the magazine capacity and the reload speed. There's really not much more to tell you other than that it is a non-lethal shotgun. It feels like a normal shotgun, but it shoots electricity instead of flesh-piercing bullets. This one's fine if for whatever reason you want to play in a non-kill style, although it doesn't really change the gameplay very much. It's just one of those weapons that's just there to kind of fill out a tick box. The next weapon we can get is the grenade launcher with the ability to increase the magazine capacity to 2, so we have to reload half the amount of times, and we can carry a couple of more grenade rounds. Now this is going to be one of the best weapons if you just want to disrupt everything, cause as much havoc as possible, as much destruction as possible as well. Obviously, if you're going for stealth, it's not great, but it is good to have just in case. Because if you do find yourself in a situation with a lot of enemies or a lot of drones, it can very quickly take a lot of them out without much skill or aim for that matter.
I'm ending this now.
Next up, we have the Attract hack, and this one shouldn't be new to you if you've played some of the Watch Dogs before. This basically allows you to hack certain items and cause them to attract guards over, so you can arm a trap, you know, use that attract, and then they'll walk right into the trap and be taken out. Extremely useful if you like to play through the cameras or using like a Spiderbot or something like that from a distance, you know, even across the street. And it can be great if you're just trying to play stealth and not have to worry about the enemies noticing you. And it's pretty much a necessity if you want to play like that and get deep into the game. Next up, we have the AR Shroud upgrade, and this one allows you to digitally shroud a target after takedown, which basically just makes them invisible, as you'll see on screen. Very useful if you are playing stealthily, and one cool thing about this is that if you do a hand-to-hand takedown from behind on someone, it will automatically shroud them for you, so that none of the other guards will stumble upon their bodies and report it. So that's pretty cool. If you like stealth, you probably want to try to get this one at some point pretty quick, especially if you like to be close combat. Another cool thing is that this will go to your Spiderbot as well. So if you take out an enemy with the Spiderbot, you'll be able to shroud them. So you can even do a little bit of stealth reconnaissance before you even set foot in the mission by using this upgrade. Next up, we have the Skin Mesh upgrade. This one reduces the amount of damage you take. Extremely self-explanatory. Hopefully I don't need to explain this one. You get the upgrade, you get shot, you take less damage. Pretty simple stuff.
I see a firearm.
Hey, where are you going?
Let's get this party
You're in
started.
trouble now.
Next up, we have the Deep Profiler upgrade, which is something I've mentioned in a lot of my achievement/trophy guides. This basically just allows you to more easily recruit potential people to join your operative list by giving you more information and recruitment leads about them that you can investigate in order to recruit them. You'll also be able to see which missions look like they're going to take longer or shorter based on these leads, and it could save you some time in the game if you're trying to get through it at a rapid pace. Next up, we have some chase drone hacks, which allows you to either deactivate a chase drone or hack it. And you can hijack a drone and then use it to fight against some allies and control it. This one's fine, but these drones have very little health, and they'll very often and very quickly be taken out if they are spotted. You probably won't use them for any of the offensive abilities they provide, but they're not terrible for just scouting out the area or completing small sections of a puzzle where you try to either open a door or just figure out where you're trying to go.
I don't like it. Lock it down. It's not doing that on it.
Someone's shooting. If you don't stop this, then I will.
Next up, we have the turret hacks, which allow you to deactivate a turret and allow you to hack it and hijack it, and you can also turn it against its allies. This one is going to be one of the most useful things to grab during the campaign, because there are a lot of turrets in the main storyline as you progress through, and as you encounter them, being able to hack them is going to obviously prove very useful. It gets all the attention of the enemies. You can take out a bunch of enemies, and you can figure out, you can actually take out the turrets themselves to help you. So it's kind of a win-win-win situation in all directions. Next up, we have the combat drone hacks, which allow you to deactivate the drones and then hack them, hijack them, and turn them against their allies. If you only have a couple of tech points at the beginning of the game, I would highly recommend that you use it on this drone. This is going to be incredibly useful. These drones are very hard to deal with. They're quite large. They have like built-in machine guns. They have good sight lines and can keep a pretty big distance and have a lot of health, which makes them very hard to take down. So anything that helps you take them down is going to be very useful. Next up, we have the gun jam unlock, or the hack. This one's pretty self-explanatory. If you hack an enemy with a gun, with the gun jam, their gun will become jammed, and they will not be able to shoot back at you. Not going to be very useful, I don't think, for most people, but it's fun to experiment with and play around with, just to have it.
Damn, stupid thing's broken.
Next up, we have the Parcel Fox drone hack. This one allows you to hack the Parcel Fox drones, which are just the drones that kind of fly around with some boxes, and you can control them. This is probably one of the absolute most useless ones in the game, but also one of the funniest ones to use in the game. You're probably going to want to save this for near the end as to not waste your tech points. But once you do get it, you may want to hijack one of these things and drop a couple of parcels on some enemies just for an easy laugh. Last but not least, we can unlock the ability to hack the Riot drone, which will allow us to hijack it to take control and use it against its allies. It has a gas grenade as well as a shotgun type weapon attached to it. And this one is going to be a little bit smaller and a little bit less deadly than the CT drone, but it can be fun to grab and just take out some enemies for you before you go through the level yourself. Although in theory this could be pretty useful, in principle you probably won't end up using this hack all that often. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please drop a like. Consider sharing the video with a friend and subscribing to the channel. Special thanks to everyone on Patreon for supporting the show, and hopefully I see you soon. Peace.